name is Andy Hollis. I write for Grassroots Motorsports magazine, and what we have here is not the one-lap CRX. This is its little brother, which is a B-Series powered car, but it has a lot of the parts on it, and a lot of the know-how that we developed for the one-lap CRX are bolted onto this car. So this car was my spare chassis for the one-lap car. In case I ever balled it up, I would cut out the cage, put it inside this, and put all the parts on it, and this would be it. So this car sat in a friend's field for, 6 years. And during COVID, we had moved to a new place, and I had room, and so the guy whose field it was in said, hey, come get your car. So I did. I brought it in, cleaned it all up, actually got the original HF drivetrain running, and sold it for more than I paid for this car. I paid $400 for this chassis, mostly because I wanted the fenders. The front fenders were pristine, but he sold me the whole car for $400, and then I sold the drivetrain out of it once I got it running for $600, so I was money ahead on the chassis. From there, I found one of the rare B18C Integra Type R motors from Japan, the JDM version, which makes a lot more power, and the matching limited slip, close ratio transmission. Drop that into it, and then put the same kind of suspension that we had on the one-lap car, those being the Redshift dampers, and a customer sway bar setup that I put on there. It fits really well into SCCA's Max 5 time trial category, where you need to have a 1.9 or less liter engine. You can do motor swaps, but you can't go more than 1.9 liters. And this motor is the highest specific output for any engine of any manufacturer that's under 1.9 liters. And at the wheels on a dyno, this motor will make over 200 horsepower. So it doesn't have a lot of torque, but it's got a lot of horsepower. So it's actually not bad. Car weighs about a little over 2,000 pounds with me in it. So it's in the 18-something range, depending on how much fuel's in it. So this car is used primarily for time trials. It was more built for Time Trial Nationals and the National Tour events because, as I say, it fits really well into the class. And we've been undefeated in it the last 3 years, and it kind of extends the record where we're the only person in the series that's been undefeated for every single year at Time Trial Nationals. So that said, this is probably the last year I bring it. I'll probably bring something a little faster next year. So this car is very, very simple, but it takes maximum advantage of the rules. It has the highest output under 1.9 liter motor that you can buy from any manufacturer, and it's got the lightest chassis to start with. And the way the rules work in this class, it's all about displacement, and it's all about curb weight of the car. There are weight limits, but they are under what the curb weight of this car is. In fact, I could even get another 100 pounds out of this car if I put fiberglass doors on it and a few other things. But the rules are looking like they may change for next year, so I stopped working on trying to make an improvement. I may actually have to add 200 pounds back to it. But yeah, it's really, really important to read the rule book and develop within it, and make your choice on car, drivetrain, engine, all chassis, all that sort of thing based on what the rules allow. So much like the one-lap CRX, some of the custom stuff that's on this car, it's got a rear sway bar that mounts through the chassis itself, and that way it can mount directly to the frame, where typical aftermarket bolt-on sway bars in the rear are designed to work around the muffler and work around the spare tire well and things like that. So they're not the most optimal setup as far as where they put the forces on the chassis. And the chassis on these cars is so soft. It's a very old design, and metal wasn't that strong back in those days. So anything you can do to apply the forces more directly is advantageous. So that's one thing we've done. Back in the day when we were first starting out with the One Lap America, we had a hatch. And we were going to go to Daytona the following year, and we decided that the more aerodynamic CRX would be a lot better. Plus, it's also lighter. It's a good, couple 100 pounds lighter, the CRX chassis is, than the hatchback. And thirdly, it takes aero better. So it's easier to get a wing on the back of the car versus the hatch. It's hard to get a wing on the back of a hatch. Now, the downside of it is that it's a shorter wheelbase, so while it'll turn tight turns easier, it's much less stable in the high-speed stuff. So that's why the aero makes these cars much easier to drive. Not only does it provide downforce, but it provides stability. It makes it easier in the high-speed stuff. So the hood on this car is one I made myself. It's not particularly cosmetically nice. It's a hood I actually built for autocrossing years ago when I was putting the car on a weight savings diet in order to meet a weight limit for a lower lower displacement motor in autocross, and it only weighs 4 pounds. And I just cut some holes in it to release the underhood pressure. And that's a fairly simple way of getting the same effect as louvers and stuff like that. But it does the job. It clears the motor. It provides a release of the pressure, and it also is super lightweight. So the car has Redshift custom competition dampers on it, a low-cost option that provides great performance. We've got iBox springs on top of those with some very high rates in order to support the aerodynamic loads that we're putting on the car. So for the brakes on the car, we have Wilwood parts that are put together into a kit by Fast Brakes. And we have 11.75 by 0.81 rotors with their Spec 37 product, best rotors that we could get on the car because we have very small wheels in order to fit them in there. And we're running Hawk DCC 80 pads on it. So for fuel on this car, we run E85, and specifically for this event, we actually filled up with Sunoco's E85R product. So for wheels and tires, we are running Yokohama A052s that we had heat cycled by Tire Rack and shaved to 430 seconds, which would get us through the weekend, because you're only allowed one set of tires for the weekend here at Time Trial Nationals, and those are mounted on 949 Racing's 6UL wheels. We have 15 by 9s in front and 15 by 8s in the back. This particular car, if you go to onelapcrx.com, that takes you to a Facebook page which I run, which has both cars on it. It has the K car and the B car on there, and so you can find some more. In fact, the entire build of this car is on there. So yeah, go onelapcrx.com. It'll take you to Facebook, and just scroll back through the pictures and all over the last couple of years, and you'll see everything that we did to make this car work.
Want to see more content like this? Make sure to hit that subscribe button and like this video. And for more information, visit us online at grassrootsmotorsports.com.